So what's up? My name is Tanika Sheree, and I have been singing background for the Miss Lauryn Hill for almost 20 years. And the way that this has actually been my life has just been very surreal because of the backstory of it. So basically, when I was a kid, my mother always said that I could sing before I could talk. So I always knew when I could be a singer that I was going to be a singer, okay? And I thought that if you wanted to be a singer that you had to be able to write all your songs. So I would write all my songs. I loved Whitney Houston so very much. And I would just write all my songs, and then I was just listening to little tidbits of hip hop, and I would be like, oh my gosh, like I love Missy Elliott. So I would write different little raps in like 3rd grade. And I remember just playing around with the idea, but I was like, I'm gonna be a singer, you know, like I have to be a singer, so I'm gonna be a singer. But I would play around with the idea of writing these different raps because in essence, I'm a songwriter. So when you're a songwriter, if you're versatile enough, I guess, you can just write a bunch of different songs in different genres and different styles and different ways. But I didn't know this. I just knew that I was a singer and that I was going to grow up and become a famous singer. These were my thoughts as a child. And I remember reading different records and CDs and understanding, well, when I was a kid, it was records. I was reading my mom's records, her old Motown records, her old, you know, everything. And I would read these records and I would see like, oh my gosh, a lot of these artists didn't write these songs. And I was like, well, that's not gonna stop me. I'm still gonna write these songs. I'm still gonna write my own songs because, you know, I don't know why they're not writing their songs, but I'm gonna write my songs, okay? I loved, like I said, Missy Elliott. I loved Queen Latifah. And I just loved Moni Love. Like I loved MC Light. Like I loved just like the idea of rapping a little bit, but I knew that I was a singer. I knew that I was a very skilled singer at a young age because I would listen to other kids singing and I'm like, I don't sing like that. You know what I mean? So I was like, I'm gonna grow up to be a singer, okay? That's what I'm gonna do. And I then saw Sister Act 2. And I heard this voice that I was like, who is that? Okay? I was obsessed. I was like, oh my gosh, it's the most beautiful voice. It's so rich. I was like a big fan of music in general. It was just something that I just connected to because I'm an alto and it was a rich voice, a deeper voice, but it went high, but it didn't have to go high, and it, you know, went low, and it was clear. The runs were pristine. The riffs were off the chart. And I just remember thinking to myself, like, oh my gosh, like, I'm her biggest fan. I need to find out, you know? And then I find out that she's in this group called the Fugees. And at this point, I'm like, wait a second, is this the same person? At first, I really didn't think it was the same person. What? She raps too? And I was so astonished. And I felt like Lauryn Hill gave me permission to be able to sing and rap equally as well. Now, I'm never saying that I am anybody's hardcore rapper. I enjoy writing rhymes. I enjoy songwriting, honestly. And songwriting literally just entails you writing in whatever genre or whatever actually comes to you. And so I never really had the full courage because I just like to do everything really, really well. But when I saw how she could flow, and it was ridiculous, as well as sing, and they were equal, it was like new game level unlocked. Like I had no idea that I could do that. Like I didn't know that. I thought I genuinely had to choose one. And I was choosing singing because that's what came natural to me. For me, it was like, I'm always gonna be a singer. I'm just toying around with this idea. But she was just so clever and so gifted and so versatile in her writing and so brilliant in her delivery and just so raw and so dope. I just was fascinated by her talent. And I tell her all the time, I'm like, yo, you like gave me permission to be able to sing and rap equally well. Like I didn't have to choose one, you know? And it took me a while to really actually start putting out songs that had raps in them because I still didn't think I was like decent enough, if you will. But in the game of songwriting and in the game of self-expression and in, you know, the game of entertainment, I mean, at this point, you can kind of put out anything, but I don't want to put out anything. I want to put out good things. I want to put out quality. And she just was someone I saw that did that and did that well in the genres that she chose. And I was so inspired by her. I was her biggest fan forever, to the point that when I went to college, I had her posters all over my walls, and everybody knew, oh my gosh, that's Tanika. Oh, she loves Lauryn Hill. She kind of sounds like her a little bit too, you know. And I'll be like, that is my sister. Oh my gosh, stop sweating me. We're gonna go to the Grammys. We are gonna be like this. Watch, when I blow up and I get signed, it's gonna be, because it was all about getting signed back then. When I blow up and I get signed, it's gonna be crazy. It's gonna be dope. It's gonna be. Fast forward a couple years, I get called for this private audition. I was working with one of my very dear friends at the time. We were both doing some songwriting and doing placements and working with an artist, a specific artist. And he was like, who are you obsessed with? I'm like, I don't know. What are we even saying? He's like, musically, who are you obsessed with? So I started just running off people. Stevie Wonder, Marvin Gaye, Sam Cooke. And he's like, no. Who are you obsessed with? And I'm like, Lauryn Hill. And he goes, she's holding auditions and you're gonna go. And I said, I ain't got time to play with you. What are you talking about? He's like, no, seriously, call Chris. Like, they're holding auditions down at the studio. Like, you gotta come. And I was like, no, there's no way. This can't be real. And he was like, it's real. So I go to the audition and they're doing the auditions virtually. So they pull up this laptop. And this is when Skype was like Skyping. She calls in and I can't see her on her side, but she can see us on our side. And I remember just hearing her voice and it just took me back to that Sister Act. It took me back to every single thing that I ever looked up, every interview, everything I ever heard her speak on, you know, the Miseducation, obviously, which I was obsessed with and who pretty much isn't. And I just heard her voice and I was like, wow, this is really Lauryn Hill. This is crazy. This is crazy. This is crazy. It really was. It really was crazy. And she conducted her auditions kind of like a cipher, where she would call forth a soprano, call forth an alto, call forth a tenor. She's like, so listen, you guys have some songs to learn. So I need a soprano, because we were kind of in a circle. I need a soprano to come to the front, I need a tenor to come to the front, and I need an alto to come to the front. And when I tell you, it was probably about 8 to 10 girls. They were all so like scary and weird. And I was like, what is happening here? So I was like, okay. And I walk forward and I go, I'm an alto. And she goes, all right, great. Soprano, tenor, like, what's up? And I think, you know, hearing this voice, this is such a profound voice. I think that the ladies were just intimidated. And while it is intimidating, you know, auditioning in general is intimidating, but it was still like, bro, we got to get this done. Like, let's see, like, let's get it cracking and see what we do. So I remember we were singing doo-wop. And, you know, we're all singing the notes, we're all singing our harmonies, our respective harmonies. And she goes, okay, that's very nice, ladies, thank you. And she goes, all right, I need the next group of ladies. So I go to step back and she goes, no, not you, you stay. And I was like, okay. And so another soprano came up and another tenor came up and we sang, I think, the same song again. And then I go to step back, but the thing was, she never let me leave the cipher. She let me like stay. And I was just like, okay, this is cool. She brought forth a couple other altos, but I never stepped back. And I just remember thinking like, this is like somebody I revered as my idol for as long as I can remember. And she is hearing me sing. And even though she's not saying it, it's kind of appearing as if she likes what she hears. And I just remember thinking to myself, like, wow, did you ever think that this would be the day? The answer was no. And so long story short, she cycles through all of the ladies, and I never left the cipher. And so she goes, okay, ladies, we'll be in touch. And she gets off the call. I get pulled to the side, and they're like, hey, they're gonna do in a couple days an audition at the house where you're gonna have to audition in front of her. And I'm like, what? This is my life right now? Ain't no way this is my life. Ain't no way. Ain't no way. Ain't no way. A couple days later, we go to Jersey, and this was our old rehearsal house that we were at, and her band at the time was there. And they were all just checking us out, looking around, and like, you know, whatever. And I just remember thinking, like, it was just such a surreal moment. Like, how could I ever imagine that this would be like a reality? And the crazier part on top of that is, like, you know, God tells us that when we delight ourselves in Him, He will give us the desires of our heart. And even though I wasn't fully walking with God like that then, I had a praying grandmother and a praying mother, and it was almost as if, because I don't believe in manifestation, not in the way that the world believes in it, but I do believe that He gives us the Word tells us that when we delight ourselves in Him, He gives us the desires of our heart. So the fact that this is my life, like, I remember having to pull my boss aside, because at the time I had like 2-3 jobs, and I had to tell my boss, like, hey, we're going to Rwanda. Rwanda? And I remember that I asked for time off, got it, and it was so short notice, but hey, I had to do it. Like a week later, they were like, hey, we're gonna do these 3 weeks in South America, starting with Brazil. And I was like, what? And I just remember typing up my 2 weeks in notice. I quit! This is my life, yo. Like, how many people can actually say that they love this person, they grew up with this person, listening to this person, they're huge fans of this person, and they get to work with them? This is someone whose posters I would have on my wall. This is someone who I would say, that is my sister. We going to the Grammys, you know. And who knew that, like, it would actually come true, you know? Like, it actually was a thing. Like, it happened. We just did the Grammys. So I'm very grateful that BET is giving her the Living Legend Award. And I say that because to be able to study under her, to be able to glean from her, to be able to be mentored by her is like, it's still speechless, right? It's still pretty astonishing. It's still pretty incredible. And I just get to learn. I get to learn from her. I get to see her creative process. I get to be a part of her creative process. And that is crazy. It's crazy, you know? I still don't take it for granted, because I still look at my life and go,